I was writing the wrong way. Yeah, no, Leblanc and what the Roses.
The England, yeah.
And the Roses, yes, France and England playing at Twickenham. England really deserve, well, literally we're looking at the match as a way to bounce back and say, look, we are still in this thing. We are the current champions of Six Nations. And as much as prior to going to the match, I did not see France losing to England, even if it's by a point, but I did not see it happening because they were playing some fluid rugby. They have some exciting, my problem is pronouncing the names, but the number 8 there. Who,
and DuPont, fam, that first try.
Definitely. In fact, that match from the first minute, it was fireworks. It was fireworks. And I saw something that I haven't seen in England, from England this year or this season of the Six Nations. In the first half, yes, they were done, but sure, they were winning their ruck so well. Phases pushed up to 17, going, and you know what? If a team could go from their own 22 and playing the ball and being played from their own ruck, and then they're winning it, and then they're going forward, they're proceeding over the 50 on their next 22, then you can tell that something is going to happen here. And the French defense looked a bit blur, at that time. And I thought maybe just like, okay, maybe the guys, I just want to make a strong statement, they might sit back, and then, France will come in. But yeah, England were there, and it was a different side. And I know I saw a few people obviously comparing this performance of them, like the one that they had in the semi-finals against the New Zealand in the World Cup. And no, that one was massive. This one was it could have been like that one. It's just that they were obviously up against a team that is high in confidence. They also want to win. I feel like New Zealand at that time sort of like undermined England. Underestimated England. So it wasn't as massive as that one. But
No, and also, like, we want to give props to England, but I think it also needs to be noted, because this is what happened, we discussed it in last week's episode, of that 6 of the 8 France forwards that played that game tested 3 weeks ago with COVID.
Yeah.
So I think that can also be an explanation for the drop-off, because in the first half, as much as England were dominant, and they territorially and possession-wise, and as you said, at the rucks and phases, France was still holding them off. It was also it was more in the last 20 minutes where the France just never had the legs to support it. Because in the second half, I don't think I saw France attack once. For me, and that's something that I haven't seen from France the entire Six Nations. So I do have to think that is a plug point to think about. But I will say that Eddie Jones finally got his England team
seems like he's
on a better track.
Yeah.
Maybe not the same track they were last time, but there seems to be Owen Farrell decided, you know what? I am Owen Farrell, actually.
Yes, he was.
And he's like, I'm the bomb.com. And he decided to be the bomb.com. So for me, I have to give that of the England players, even Anthony Watson on the wing.
Watson was fantastic.
And that's what I said of individual players that you have not seen. Like, you couldn't name anyone that's done well so far. Yeah. They decided, hey fam, Twickenham, no fans. Yeah.
Still at home though.
We can rock this. We can rock this.
Yeah, but you know what? I think also from the French side, they really should feel disappointed at the fact that they could have won that game. And I think the England's first half performance sort of like put them off for the rest of the game. Yeah. Because the power, they were overpowering them. They were coming into them. They were literally just winning every sort of green pitch or every green area on the grass, and they were there. And the French, you saying they held the English off, but I think at some point the French were like, there were a lot of like line breaks, a lot of them made by the Atkinson, Watson. Even Owen Farrell at some point, he looked like the beast that we know him to be. Yeah, besides being a cheat, but I'm just saying the other piece of him playing proper. And I think I feel like France can take a lot from this game. Oh, definitely. And they can set themselves up when they face other stiff competitions. Maybe, I'm not sure if they played Ireland yet.
No, they're going to play Wales.
They're going to play Wales. They're playing Wales. Yeah. So when they're going to be playing Wales, so they have to make sure that they fix their lines, because now you cannot allow someone to just break into you guys, and you have your solid 8, your 7, and your apparently your 15 is supposed to also be doing work, but at some point he looked a bit gingerly, and it was questionable as to can they maintain until the 80th minute, which they obviously couldn't. And it leaves them a lot of room to improve. But I'm still sticking to this front side to lift the Six Nations. I'm still there.
Yeah.
Until they lose the next game, I'm like, and I'm allowed to change. This is South Africa. I'm allowed to change.
Yeah. Oh. No. Speaking of that game, because I believe there was a controversial try in the 75th minute.
Yes.
And I feel like it would be remiss of me to not say this, because people in my DMs were out there telling me, you better discuss this game and you better say, Otoji, the Twickenham curse was like, now we're in Twickenham, we're gonna give this a try. Because the ref called no try.
Yes.
Then they went to the TMO. Now me as a fan, a person who doesn't want Sbu to be right, I can honestly think I did not see Etoji with the ball over the line without a hand underneath. I thought it was held up. I genuinely thought it was held up.
I also thought so. I thought so too.
Yeah.
However,
there's no however.
No, my however comes to the referee, because now they all even went down and he went down and looked closely and like, no, I don't know what's going on. And he sent it upstairs. However, now the thing is those are one of those very unfortunate situations. Only to find out maybe the ball, because I still think I'm 50%, because I think like at some points it did touch, and then maybe the tip of the ball at the top could have maybe quickly touched and then was brought back to on A, and then unfortunately then I saw their hand, but a part of me feels like it did touch. However, now it's difficult if a decision like that you'd give it. Because we are in a position like the teams will lose championships and trophies and everything if decisions like that are given and everyone is uncertain about it, because no camera angle was able to see what's going on. And by the end of the moment, you get to see that maybe there was a hand. But what was going on prior to it? Did it take a twist, a turn? Did it maybe on its top or on the sides? You see, there's a lot of things, a lot of discussion around it, and it's a bit unfortunate if you give it if you're not certain about it.
I love that you mentioned that, because I would like, if you follow us on the change room.